Hey, it's Matt with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Thursday. It's August 17th. This will be our chart lesson for today, and this is going to wrap our week up, and what a way to do it. I'll probably take off tomorrow. Hopefully, most of y'all will take off tomorrow too. Um, this is about as good as it gets, and we were talking about the lack of volatility and how it'd come back eventually. And the one good thing I can tell you, when it starts to get really slow and you think nothing else is going to happen, uh, that's when it does come back, it comes back strong. And we got that today, and that would have been your measured move right there. And you can see we outdid that quite a bit. I mean, we basically closed. Well, we didn't quite close on the low. We closed maybe a point off the low. There's still a lot of meat left on the bone right down through there. So, um, if you had a runner, you could just let this thing go. You probably didn't need a runner or didn't need it by that point, so it's probably not worth risking it. But this is the kind of day where, especially on the second leg, once it starts, try to ride it at least to that point if you can. We got the break way up here. That's what's so interesting about this. We had a break. That's the first break of this channel here, and then we just started a new tighter channel. It ran all the way down. We had the break here, moved to a new low, but it's still generally when you get a day that sells off this strong, it's just going to keep going down. And you just look for new. Once you get your correction and it's over, look for a new trend line and trade that new trend line. You can see that we're swinging both sides of this trend line here. We just played that line. Look, there's that gap right over the trend line. I love it when I see that because it tells me I got my line in the right place. There's another one up here somewhere right here. You can see this trend channel, and you can see it's right there. I originally had it right on that gap, and I believe that's where it is. And we kept overshooting here, so you knew it was really weak. But anyway, I'm not going to beat around the bush. We got a lot of trades to go through, and I'm going to move through them pretty quickly. Once it was obvious this was a strong downtrend, you're not looking to buy anywhere. Just sell all the way. Just sell. That's what you want to do. And just look for the setups, wait on them, and you might have to let some of these corrections play out, and then you start selling again. And I mean, it doesn't get any easier than this. But anyway, when I came in, we're working down on this little channel right here, real tight. It's possible it's two-tiered, because that looks pretty obvious right there. And then you can move it on over here, and there's probably two tiers to it. You can see both those tiers right there, so you got a double tier. Okay, sorry, I forgot to mute my mail, and I had a mail come in, so I went over and muted it. But anyway, looks like we got a little two-tier channel coming down here. I didn't really play it that way, but it doesn't really matter. This is your third touch. It's this is basically one leg down, then there's a little two-legged correction, then another leg down, and that's two measured legs, and so that's like a failed second entry long. It's not an ideal one because it's so close to the low of the day, and this is right at the 7 o'clock hour, so um, if you want to take this one, the way I would do it was let it break lower and move a limit order to make sure I had enough room to be completely scalped out before I got to that low. It didn't matter in this case, but I can show you a million examples where going short that close to the low, you'll get burned. So you can't take a chance on that. You can't take that chance. So, but then we get the break here, and it looks like we're going to get two legs to a new low, and it fails. So you want to reverse there. That's two chances, attempts to go lower, and at that point I had that was the low, and you can see that's a perfect double test and a failed second entry short. It's also a second entry long. Some of you may have went short here, but again, you're going short right into those lows, and you don't have room. Now, if you use the very low here, you would probably have room, But the fact that you got a double bar matching low there, this bar here didn't close on its low, there's a lot of reasons to be a little bit leery of that one. We're not quite back to the EMA. Notice either time we got back, so we're way overdue to pop back to the EMA. And what'll happen a lot of times is it'll come back, it'll bounce back, and then it'll shoot down for a new low, which is really kind of what happened here. We just started going sideways. But once we made these higher two closes, you want to move this up. And once it was obvious we were going sideways here, the play is still to the short side. And you really just don't get a good setup. This is the only really bearish bar you get, and you can't go short right back into the lows. You may have moved this down by that point. Really, I like it up here because it accounts for these two touches. So this is just a little failed break lower. So I like that one the long side, but you know, this one did turn up and then go out the other side. But again, you didn't have room to get out before getting back to this low, and there's a lot of stem there, a lot of stem here. I just think it's too risky. I think you're just better off to sit and see if you get a failed break. And sure enough, you get a break out the upper side, and we traded down into this. So you're hoping it's going to take on off the other direction. And at that point, I'd be looking for a measured move like so. And you can see we far outdid that as well. So once you started going lower here, and if you drew this trend line off these bottom two swings and drug it up, I mean, that's all you had to do. Drag that up to the very high, and it fits in there perfect. And so this turns down exactly where you expect it to, on a failed break higher. And that's only 3 ticks there. That's a very low risk, a little bit away from the EMA, so you got some room. And this thing just takes off, and that's the trade of the day right there. About before 9 o'clock, really. And then, of course, we're moving down. Our measured move was way down here. And you would expect prices to try to reach this lower trend channel. And so you just get a repeat pattern here, basically, is what happened. You just notice we traded down and went sideways and had the failed break. We traded down, went sideways, had the failed break. But you get a really good setup here. You got plenty of room to get out. You got plenty of room to the other side of the range. And if you're really lucky, you're going to take off down there at least to the measured move. And at that point, once we kept going further, I would take this measurement here. And a lot of times when you get 3 legs, that final leg will be a measured move. And you can see that's a perfect measured move to the tick. So anytime you get that third leg, always look for it to be similar to the first leg. And sometimes the middle leg will be a little bit longer, a little bit shorter, or whatever. And it's the 2 outer legs that will be more equal. So, but a perfect pattern there. And then, of course, we overshoot everything down here. So you're expecting a little bounce. But by this time, this thing's all downhill. It's tempting to go long right there. And you could have, but I think you're better off just to wait and let it come back, because this is a pretty strong move. The only thing here is you did get an overshoot, so it's probably going to lead to a break pretty quickly. But that's the thing. You would think that break would come here, but it didn't. It shot back down and then made the break. And that's what you don't know. That's what you can't rely on or count on. You know that on an overshoot that you're probably going to get a break pretty soon. But there was also the concern that at this point that hey, this may not be an overshoot. This might be a midline, and we may be going way on down there. Didn't turn out that way. It looks like an overshoot, and then we got the break soon thereafter. So just something to be aware of. But notice you got a little sideways, and you go higher here. So just draw that little channel. You get a close outside, and you move right back up, and you confirm that trend line with a bearish bar. You're a little bit of ways away from the EMA again. Usually you want to wait on a lower high, but in this case, this is a strong downtrend. And it's right off the trend line, and it's confirming the trend line. It's a very bearish bar. It's a good signal bar. You've had your break here, a new high. You're way away from the EMA. I'm going to take that trade. And you get a chance to either add on or get a second, or if you didn't enter here, definitely enter on this one. It's not a perfect signal bar, but it's turning down right off that trend line again. It's very bearish. Just go short there. And our hope is it just keeps going, but it doesn't. It comes down here, it bounces. You get a close outside here. That's a failed second entry long. So go short right there. You figure it's going to make a new low. It doesn't, but it's an easy scalp. And then it bounces again. And there's a double test here of this back here, but again, I don't think you want to risk any longs yet because you hadn't had a break of this. You get it here, and it's just kind of like a little repeat pattern of this right here. You bounce up, you get a close outside, move to a new high, and you're a lot further away from the EMA this time. That's not a perfect signal bar, but it's only about 3 or 4 ticks, and it's way away from the EMA. It looks close to being a repeat pattern of this over here, so I'm going to take that one. If you want to wait on the lower high, it comes here, and both of them work. And then you get your failed second entry long right here. It's close to that low right there, but you're going to definitely make a new low on this. A trend that strong, and you may start a new trend. So just keep that in mind. I don't know what that, oh, that's my arrow. I couldn't figure out what that was right in the middle of everything there all of a sudden. But yeah, then you move on down, you push out, side. You really haven't made the new low yet. You're outside this where most of that support was, but you still haven't made the new low. And you get one leg up, a little correction, second leg up. But that's right off that trend line, right off the EMA, big bearish bar. You got enough room to get out before here. I'd have this back down here now. And it just takes off again. And definitely that being off a key entry point with confluence between the EMA and the trend line, you probably want to hold a runner there. And this is a double top, so that's like a new high. First entry, pull back. Second entry, it fails. We just came off the low side, so we're probably headed back to the high side. But notice how it's closing back in, and it's a double test of inside there. You may let this break lower and try to get a little better entry just to make sure you got room to get out here. But it's a failed second entry long, and this thing's selling off. We do have a new low in place though, but you got another little trend channel here, and I'd be looking for that measured leg that I showed you right here. And you can see where that's at right here. And it obviously bounced there, and that's probably why we got a bounce pretty close to there. But yeah, I like that one. And then we try to go higher once, twice. We're just really going sideways here, and I don't think you would want to risk entering normally. You come off the trend line here, and you come off of it here too, but you're still inside that little trading range. But when you come right off of it again, and that big bearish bar, you got to go short at the very low of the day. But I still like that trade because your measured move is way down here. You probably could argue for that one to be green. It's really close. I really liked it, but I'm going to change it to green because it's you got to go low at the low, or short at the low of the day, and unless it's a really strong trend day, which it is, you're probably not going to do that. But that's still going to be aggressive, so I'm going to switch that one back. And then you're moving down, and you come back. You get a second entry. Right off that trend line. Here's the problem with this one. This is really your signal bar. It's not very good. Of course, this isn't equal, so you could use this for a signal bar. But if you entered here, you know, you're getting so close to the low, and by that time, when it bounces, it's right. You got this trend line working up here, and you can see that. So you got to be careful of that. But I'm guessing if you had a better signal bar here, you'd probably go short. And some of you may have got trapped there. And I can't remember if it's a 4-tick failure, how many ticks it got. The low there is 42.50. And it went to 41. No, it only got 3 ticks, so you would have been in a world of hurt there. And notice what happened when it bounced, how quickly it gapped over and kind of moved up before it came back again, filled that little gap. But you got to let this correction play out. That's your first break of this channel, and you still don't have your measured move yet, so you're probably still going to get some more downtime. But you got to wait and let it play out. So you get a lower high here, but you don't have a new high in place. I'm probably going to wait for that revert. This is really close enough to be a reversal pattern. Look how it shot right back through that EMA, pulls back, can't get back through it. I marked that one. There's plenty of room to get out, but by waiting on the true reversal pattern with a failed second entry long, you get that here, and look how much quicker it shot off and took off. And that's because that's what most people are, most smart traders are waiting on. And then and this is somewhat sideways here. I don't have it on here, but you probably want to. It didn't really come into play because you still had room there to get out, but you had to be concerned about it. Notice you figure when we push through here, we're going to pull back and test that area a couple of times before we go lower. That's generally how it works. But notice what you got. You coming up, you get your close outside, you move back up, and you can't quite make a new high, but it's a double test and a big bearish bar. I'm gonna go short there too. It's a second entry. It's not and it is a close outside a new high. It's not a beautiful second entry, but it's a perfect price action. You get your close outside the trend line and move to a new high, and actually you don't really make a new high, but you test it twice. That's close enough. And that's something I've been meaning to say lately. You don't want to run around and chase everything that looks like a good pattern, but trading is not perfect. If you want to wait on perfect, you're going to miss a lot of good trades. So if you see a trade that looks like what we like, and it's fairly close, especially on a day like this, you want to take it, because if you don't, you're going to miss out. And so anyway, we push through, we come back and we test that one more time. It actually broke higher and turned and went out the other side. If you waited on this bar, you couldn't enter here because you're right into a double bottom. And you can see we're starting to get back outside this line. You really got to wait on your reversal pattern, which doesn't come till here, and it's 2 o'clock. I really wouldn't have been afraid to take that trade right there. And if it wasn't for the double bottom here and that being right into it, I'd say take that one. What you could have done, if you let it break higher, it actually went higher first and turns and comes out. It backed up a little bit here. If you could get in with enough to get out before these lows, I'd say go ahead and enter there. So we'll make that one green with that disclaimer. Because where's my green? And it would have worked regardless, but you're getting this close to the late part of the day. You probably want to be watch it a little closer and make sure that everything lines up. And it really does until here. And that's a little breakout pullback short. It's a double test of the previous support resistance. It's a failed second entry long. A lot of reasons, big bearish bar. Again, it went higher and turned and went out the other side. You could have had your stop there or waited on that one, either one. Noticed how it gapped over that line there. And but yeah, it was a pretty good trading day. Lots of entries, and you could probably argue for some more in there if if your chart looks a little different than mine. But generally, you just wait on these key entry points. And really, I didn't show this here, but I would have started another trend line. probably want to grab those first two there. You can see that working down through there. You can see it fits basically perfect on the bottom too. So there's another channel that strikes up, and you can see it. You can see the original trend line. The prices are working both sides of it. So you probably want to move that out of your way just so you can see that clearly. But that's yet a third channel. And notice how we creep down it. We come back, and even in the after the next day, this is in the overnight of the following day, we turn down right off of it again, and we really bounce off of it again. And you might could tweak this a little bit now that you got a little more price action. Notice how we bounced right there. So, and it kind of fits a little better there later in the day. But it wouldn't have changed anything if you just left it where I originally had it. So anyway, great trading day. Finally got a little movement, a little volatility, and it was all downhill. So just, you basically want to look for shorts. Up here, it was looking like it was going to be a range day for maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and then it was off to the races. So anyway, I hope you had a good trading day. I hope you had a great week overall. If you didn't have a good week, hopefully today made up for it. And if you found yourself trying to buy all the way down and getting burned over and over, go back and study your chart and remember the #1 rule on a strong trend day: you do not counter trend trade. And this is a strong trend day. Really, after 10, a little bit after 10 o'clock, we never could get back above the EMA the rest of the day. That's as bearish as, actually I take that back. We did break a higher just a moment right there. So really good trading day. I'm not going to beat around the bush anymore. Already got 20 something minutes, but there's a lot of trades to talk about today. And we haven't been able to do this for a while. So I'm going to wrap it up for the week. I'm probably going to take the day off tomorrow. If you don't see a chart lesson, or I'm sorry, a mid-morning chart, you know I took the day off. Even if I take the day off, I'll probably come in for a little bit. So if I do, I'll still do the mid-morning chart. But if you don't see one, you know I took the day off, and we'll be back again Monday. So, but I'm done for the day. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.